Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my true enjoyment, my pleasure, and my fulfillment to be in your presence and have the opportunity to share with you lessons, insights, and inspirations of a lifetime that goes beyond 83 years at this point and counting. Glad to still be here. My name is Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. I've been licensed as a clinical psychologist since 1974 in California. I've been in practice as a psychologist for over 50 years, between here and elsewhere. So I bring to you a lifetime experience as a human being and as a psychologist. I've seen thousands and thousands of people over those years. I've had a chance to really look into human nature. Really didn't fully start catching on deeply to what's happening in the world until I was about 70. And as I like to tell people, I'm 83 years old now, and I finally know what I'm doing. Of course, I keep learning and growing, but I could offer you a lot now. It's my deep privilege, with much respect and appreciation that you're here to receive this. My intention is to uplift you and your loved ones now and for the rest of your lives with this knowledge and understanding. That truly is my intention. The title of today's presentation is The Inconvenience of Living with Honor. The inconvenience of living with honor. It's kind of a humorous sound to it, but as wonderful as it is, walking the path of honor is a path of no regrets. It leads to greater wisdom, compassion, resiliency. But there is definitely an inconvenience to it. I've always talked about all the benefits and the upliftment and the mental health benefits, the spiritual benefits, even the physical benefits of living with honor. But I need to also address, to help you understand it more, the inconvenience. Being honorable is not always inconvenient. It's not always convenient. It can be inconvenient. And by inconvenient, I mean, when you follow this path of honor, and the inconvenience I'm referring to doing something part of you doesn't want to do. You really don't want to do it, but you're doing it because honor demands it. And you've committed yourself to the way of honor. Those of us who've committed ourselves to this path, many times and often we're doing things that some part of us really doesn't want to do. But we do it because honor demands it. So first we're going to talk about the 4 commands of honor. Then we'll talk about the pledge to commit your life to this way, and then the bridge, and then we're going to talk about the supremacy of honor code. And we'll talk about the inconveniences and what's involved in living this path, even with the inconvenience. 4 commands of honor. I wish you well. Something could happen with somebody, you're angry, feel hurt, offended, insulted. You want to tell that person off, say something nasty. Heck, you may want to slap that person. But when you walk in this path, you're committed to wishing that person well. That doesn't mean you hope they win the lottery. It may mean you hope someday they turn to honor. So in your thoughts, you're going to wish you well. It's like to slap that person. I wish you well. And doing that is the honorable way to go, the honorable thing to think. We want to be able to, you always ask the question, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? That's the way of honor. So, okay, I wish you well. You don't even want to do it. So you might have to go, I want to wish you well. You may not even really, some part of you doesn't really want to even do it. You go, I wish you well. And that's the correct path when you're committed to the way of honor. But it's an inconvenience because you really don't want to do it. When I say you don't really want to do it, that means your lower nature wants to pull you into striking back, revenge, retaliating. But your divine nature, your honor nature, I wish you well. I wish you well, I really do. I wish you well, my brother, I really do. And it could be, if it's somebody you're close to, like your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, child, parents. So I wish you well, and I love you. I love you is one of the laws of honor. I wish you well, and I love you. And that's on top of wanting to go, I love you, I wish you well. There you have it. That's something that you wanted to do. But the more you get into manifesting your higher nature, your divine nature, your spiritual nature, your honor nature, the easier that becomes. It really does. Okay, next, I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. Somebody's done something, say your spouse, and you feel really picked on, and you jump into it and you say something, you want to say something back because you feel victimized. And you go, I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. So she may have started, but if you get into it, you're co-creating it. You're co-creating it. So once you see I co-create it, then you're no longer only a victim. You have power. You've co-created it, you can unco-create it. Some part of you really doesn't want to see that you've co-created. Matter of fact, you say, well, I've co-created this. Look, I've added fuel to the fire. I want to apologize. I'm sorry for my part. And it could be the last darn thing you wanted to do was apologize. Hey, I've co-created this. I can see that. I apologize for my part of this. Please forgive me. And that person may or may not apologize for their part. May not happen. So here's something you really didn't want to do. Your pride was in the way. Part of this path is putting honor before pride. Pride was in the way. You go, listen, I've co-created. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. I was wrong to do that. To begin with, you're just not going to want to do it. It's not even a natural thing to do. It's the honorable thing to do. A natural thing for operating from the lower nature is to just blame the person. Blame. But every spiritual path there is, doesn't matter what religion we're talking about, Christianity, Catholicism, Baha'i, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, any religion will prohibit blaming. Any religion, any spiritual path will encourage you to wish people well. So these commands of honor are consistent with whatever spiritual path you're on. It's consistent with that. And if you're not following a spiritual path, it's certainly consistent with your highest values. So there you have it. Some part of you really don't want to do it, but you're doing it. And the more you do it, it gets really easier and easier to do it. And by reciting the 4 commands of honor 3 times a day for a lifetime with the bridge, it will manifest. It will manifest more and more in your behaviors. And it really does get easier. It'll get to a point where you wouldn't think of violating your own honor, your own code of honor. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. That's one of the commands of honor. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. Something happens, something terrible. Could be medical, relationship-wise, legal, on your job, occupational. You feel victimized. And I a lot of our people, particularly on the job, they're harassed, overworked, maybe feel underpaid. And so it's a great hardship. And it's real. The hardship is real. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. I know this is going to make me wiser. I'm going to get stronger from this. There's a couple of corollaries to that. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. I call that the warrior's command of honor. It's what I hope to come back much stronger than ever. And what's the best true story I can tell myself about this? You'll always find whatever terrible things going on, you can always find a gain or whatever that you have in that. Always. Remember the case of Jimmy. He had this job in security, the head of security at a very major organization. Been there 30 years. He was going to retire in 6 months. But the other people he was supervising had this video of a naked woman, because I guess her boyfriend, she was a celebrity, her boyfriend sent it in to retaliate against her, and the guys were watching it. He saw them watching it, and he didn't stop them. They didn't stay and go watch it with him, but he didn't stop them. Well, later, the higher-ups found out about it, called them in and said, this is what you did. We know you didn't stop them, and you should have, and fired him. And that was, only had 6 months left to retire, so he lost his health insurance, he lost his retirement plan. He came in really devastated. And I said, Jimmy, what if I told you there's the best true story you're going to be able to tell yourself about this problem that's going to bring dignity, nobility, and honor to your life? He says, Doc, what good story can there be? I lost my pension, I lost my health insurance, I lost my job. And on that job, it wasn't just money. I had so much respect from so many people at Christmas. They would just give me so many gifts, call full of gifts. Lost all of that. I said, Jimmy, within 4 weeks, you're going to come to me and say, Dr. Nerenberg, getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to me. And you're going to be able to tell me the best true story that came out of that. Jimmy looked at me. He actually laughed. He said, you expect me to come back and say it was the best thing that could happen to me? It's all right. And I didn't know what the best true story was going to be, but I knew there was going to be one. It didn't take 4 weeks. 3 weeks later, he comes in and he says, Dr. Nerenberg, I can't believe I'm going to say this to you. Getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to me. You know, I've been married for 40 years. We always had a good marriage. My wife never told me how much she loves me or appreciates me. I never heard that, but I always knew she did. Well, she'd come home from work the other day. He said, sweetheart, don't think I don't notice how you're vacuuming and getting the house clean for me, and you're making meals for me, so when I come home, I rest, you're rubbing my feet. Don't think I don't notice that. I've always loved you, she said to him, but I love you more than ever. I'm so grateful to be your wife. I'm so grateful to have you as my husband. He said, Dr. Nerenberg, that made it all worth it. Just to hear my wife say that to me made all the rest worth it. The best true story about this problem, which is derivative of I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. Once you learn to do this yourself when you're in the middle of a tribulation, you're going to love it. But it's not going to be something you're going to want to do. You've got to really train yourself to do it. The way you train yourself is you got to be repeating the 4 commands of honor 3 times a day, so you're always ready to apply it with the bridge. And if you use the supremacy of honor code, that helps as well. The 4th command depends whether you believe in God or not. If you don't believe in God or wish to address God, it's I seek always to serve my highest values. If you do believe in God, as I do, it's God, your wish is my only wish. If you're in a situation maybe you have to, maybe you found $100 on the floor and you really needed the $100, but you know God would want you to return it. Or if you're loyal to your highest constructive values, whatever you're returning it, at least give it to lost and found or wherever you are. So I found that. And do it, but you don't want to do it. You know, it's getting close to a holiday, a birthday, you need the $100. But so in that sense, it's an inconvenience. But God, your wish is my only wish. You say, oh, I just got to do this. Bring it in, turn it over, and see if they can find whose it was. It wasn't yours. You knew that. So there's some of the inconvenience right there. Now, to really be able to walk this path, you want to be able to, commit yourself, take the pledge to recite those 4 commands of honor 3 times a day. By the way, I call them commands of honor. I've also called them commandments of honor. I've also called them the 4 principles of honor. Call them commands of honor because you're commanding the honor that's already within you to arise into consciousness, into thoughts, words, and actions. It's transformative. We're seeing people just being transformed rapidly. And not only are people being transformed on this path, the significant others are noticing it. The mother, the father, the spouse, the children, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews say, yeah, you're so much calmer. You're so much nicer. You don't overreact so much. You're not so snappy at us anymore. They'll say something. I'm hearing this from 85% of my patients within a few months. Your life gets better, but there is an inconvenience to this. You're really doing things part of you does not want to do. Now, so you take a pledge, it goes this way. As a disciple of honor, I pledge myself for all the days of my life to the 4 commands of honor. And I'll teach them to those I love. I'll recite them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and listen to myself recite them. It's a lifetime commitment. I tell everybody, every session, you've got to do this all your life. When you're not a patient anymore, you don't want to stop. You want to do it all your life. And you want to pass that on as a legacy to your loved ones, your children, your nieces and nephews. You want to just keep passing, so it gets passed on as a family heirloom. Instead of family heirloom being a piece of jewelry, it's this beautiful path of life, the way of honor. See, my great-great-great-grandmother, my great-great-grandfather, Jose, he passed this down to us, these thoughts that we recite. Now, you also have the supremacy of honor code. Honor before pride. So honor before pride is the first one. Honor before pride is key because generally it's normal for people to want to put their pride before anything. So you can't apologize. You defend what you've done even if though you were wrong. Once you put your honor before pride, you're more inclined to apologize and say, I was wrong. And by the way, pride, even though most people put pride before honor, I tell people, pride is a very cold lover. Won't keep you warm at night. Pride is a very cold lover. Won't keep you warm at night. Really won't. Honor before pride. Honor before anger. Honor before sex. Honor before money. There could be situations that come up where you can make more money if you just withhold some information. Or you can sell somebody something you don't really need, but you're going to make a good commission. Honor before money. Yeah, but I need that money. I got a mortgage payment. I've got a car payment. I want to sell him that even though he doesn't need it. Honor before money. So you're doing something you may not really want to do, but you're putting honor before money. Honor before fear. Honor before time and convenience. You see a dead animal on the road. You feel honor demands that you move it. Pull off when you can. You go move the animal. You're on the freeway. There's a tire laying in the middle of the freeway. It's dangerous. You pull off the road. You park somewhere. You call 911, and you say there's a tire in the road obstructing traffic on the freeway going north on the 605 or whatever. You get to where it is. And you didn't want to pull off the road. You wanted to get to where you're driving, but you pulled off. It's a real inconvenience, a pain in the neck. You pull off, you make that call. That's the, you honor demanded it, and you did it. So honor before time and convenience, honor before love, honor before everything, honor before life itself. So that's the supremacy of honor code. So 4 commands of honor. Then, of course, for the 4 commands of honor, you want to use what I call the bridge. What's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? What's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? So you'd say that 3 times a day with the commands of honor, because the repetition is preparation for application to achieve stabilization. It will stabilize you. So on this path, you're no longer looking for happiness. You're not looking for comfort, for convenience. You're looking for honor. And honor turns out to be the foundation of true happiness. I mean, sure, you could have fun, pleasure, entertainment without honor, but it's not true happiness. So your purpose in life is to pursue honor, to live with honor. That becomes the purpose, the driving force. Even when some part of you really doesn't want to do it, it's a real inconvenience to manifest the honor. So honor becomes an end in itself, not because it always feels great. It doesn't always feel great, but you've chosen that as a way of life. In this program, that's the goal. That's the path to good mental health, to health in every way. It's the path of no regrets. It's the path to becoming more resilient, wiser, more compassionate, more trustworthy. People will trust you more. They say something about that person. I trust him. I trust her. Because you emanate that. You emanate that good character. It'll help you at your work, help you in your relationships, and help you in every area of life. Your children don't become what you tell them to do. They become you, what you are in private, what those private thoughts. They manifest that. By living that, that's the best parenting you could possibly do, is to live with honor, even though it's an inconvenience. Well, it's been my pleasure to present to you the inconvenience of living with honor, only because I want to prepare you for what's down the road. I don't want you to think it's a bed of roses. It's going to always be something you want to do. It's something you're committed to doing. You've chosen a way of life. Now, let me tell you something. Any decision you're making in a situation, any choice you make, you're not making that decision and choice at that moment. Say, should I do this or that? We already made the choice. You already did a long time ago. Once you choose to walk upon the path of honor, that predisposes every decision you make because they're going to be honorable choices. Honorable. So you think you're making up your mind now about something you're not. It was made, if you became a follower of the way of honor 10 years ago, you made your decision 10 years ago how you're going to deal with this situation, because you're now confined to dealing with it honorably. It predisposes all your decisions. If you live to 100 years old and you're 20 now, you made that decision 80 years ago. That's influencing what you're choosing now and what you're deciding now. That's truth. Well, it's truly my pleasure to do this now, to talk to you this way and present to you. I'm going to now open it to our wonderful audience. We have very deep people, very intelligent people, very shy people. Many people are too shy to speak up. But I always encourage everybody to speak up, because the truth is you benefit as much or even more from hearing each other than you do from hearing from me. So I'm going to open it to you for any questions, any comments. Feel free to do so. Yeah, Hugh.
A life of honor, does that sometimes make you more susceptible to a bully because they know that there's a limit to what you're willing to do?
There's a question that Hugh always makes great questions. Great questions. Bravo, Hugh. Does that make you more susceptible to being bullied? When you walk the path of honor, it doesn't mean you're a marshmallow or a doormat. Somebody's being disrespectful, you say, hey, wait a minute. I'm talking to you respectfully. I appreciate if you talk to me respectfully. Is that okay with you? Could we both do it both ways respectfully? So you're firm, but you do it, you communicate in a respectful, real manner. You have the right to be who you truly are, as long as the expression of your true self is done in a respectful, real manner. So it's not good for you to take that kind of abuse, and it's not good for the other person to try to take advantage of you or exploit you. It's bad for them to get away with being dishonorable. So you speak up.
If that doesn't stop them?
Well, if it doesn't stop them, then you have other options you have to consider. You might have to file a complaint. You might have to file a grievance. You may have to go to HR. You may have to file a police report. Whatever you have to do to neutralize the damage. But you don't just take the abuse. You find a way to neutralize it, not out of revenge, but out of seeking justice. That's the guiding principle here. Justice is the dimension of honor, very important dimension.
You know, my wife was in a nursing home, and there were many times where the care she needed was not being given to her, or not being given to her in a timely manner. And I tried to resolve it honorably using the bridge, and that still didn't work. And ultimately, you lose your patience, and the F-bombs start popping out. Then they get to work. It's unfortunate, but sometimes the honorable way with dishonorable people doesn't do the job.
Well, the honorable way, he was saying sometimes the honorable way with dishonorable people doesn't do the job. Actually, it does do the job. You've behaved honorably. Now, they're not, if they're dishonorable, they're not going to do the honorable thing. You've been honorable, so you did the job that way, number one. Number two, I mean, I know you have filed complaints on the agency. You've done different things. You didn't just take it. You gave them every opportunity to be honorable, to take care of your wife in the convalescent home, and they didn't do it. You've gone to outside facilities to report it. So that's so you dealt with honorably. So it did work. It actually did work, just not immediately. But so that's how that goes. We deal with, in fact, I give a whole lecture dealing honorably with dishonorable people. Doesn't mean that we get abused, taken advantage of, or a loved one gets abused or taken advantage of or neglected. Doesn't mean that at all. Good question. You excellent.
Dr. Nerenberg, how are you? Good to see you again. Thanks again.
Good to see you. Announce your name when you're speaking, please.
This is Claudia Ponce de Leon.
Yes, Claudia. Welcome, good Claudia. Welcome.
Thank you. Just adding on to the question of, not unless a question, but if you decide that you do want to, I guess, pursue a grievance, but you're afraid because you still want to stay within the parameters of being honorable, and obviously you don't want to get bullied around, but you don't want to create more of a problem because it's tied into that I take full responsibility of co-creating my reality and my problems, right? So even submitting a grievance could add on to the problem. So that's
well, let me interject there. Let me stop you there, please. Wonderful point. You're very articulate, very well said. You're doing it for yourself because you're being mistreated. You're doing it to help that person stop being dishonorable. And you're protecting other people who they might want to do it to. So it's not just for you, it's for you, for the bully or the person abusing power, and for future people that will be bullied, because you can be sure that the person is not just doing it to you. They've done it before and they'll do it again. So it's really, that's why honor demands you do it. And you're not doing it out of vengeance. You're doing it because it's the honorable thing to do all around. It's not just for you, it's for them, and it's for other people in the organization. Absolutely. File that grievance. Go, and if HR doesn't work on it, if you have to, you go to your congressman, wherever you have to go, file a lawsuit, whatever you have to do, you move on it. If it's something serious enough, I'm not talking about every little infraction, but if it's serious and it's persistent, it's a persistent issue. I mean, I have people that feel so beaten up from it, they'll pull up to the office in their car and they don't even want to get out of the car, or they get panic attacks on the way to work every day. Well, that's not a way to have to live. You're there to make a living. You don't mean any harm to anybody. Then you take steps to negate the harm, not to take revenge, to neutralize the harm. So you can go about making your living, and also the organization needs to know it. It's very demoralizing for the morale of the employees. So you're doing it's going to help you, the other person, other employees, and the organization itself. So that's why you make your move. Absolutely.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful point you made. Very, very well said.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've helped other people by asking that question, because believe me, there are many people here that wonder about that same thing. Yeah, excellent. Well, I want to thank everybody. It's been a great privilege and pleasure to be in your presence and to present to you the inconvenience of living with honor.
The sea of destiny is in your deepest struggle. God's will and mine be one, and I wish you well. You are co-creator, respectfully real. There's a way in the valley that turns weakness to steel. We're known through all eternity. From strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow. I pledge my love all the days of my life. I pledge my soul to all that is good. I pledge my heart to my brothers and sisters who I join in the light, leave a legacy of honor. We're known through all eternity. From strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow.